All right. What is up, YouTube? What is going on, fellow fantasy people? And of course, what is up, the Catch fam? Tuning in here for the second half of Monday Night Football. We got some Cowboys at Eagles action going on, man. Uh, not looking too good for the Eagles at the moment. But yeah, we'll just kind of chill out for a bit here, take some fantasy Q&A while the game is going on. Maybe hang out for a couple minutes after the game as well if we've got any fantasy Q&A still going down. But we tried to get live stream going with our co-host Steven, and we've got some more technical issues to work through with doing the duo live stream. But we will get that hopefully going within the week. I think that's going to be a big part of what we began to do here on this channel, man. But it'll definitely work out in the coming week or so. So I do apologize for anyone who tuned in a little bit earlier and then got cut off for a bit as we just took an intermission as Jalen Hurts scrambling there on 3rd and 9. Looks bad for the Eagles at the moment. But we'll see what happens, man. Plenty of time left in this game, I suppose, right? So we'll see what happens, man. I don't know about you guys, but I had, like we've already talked about for the week, an awful fantasy week overall, man. So interested to see how you guys came out and performed individually, man. Tony Pollard's looked pretty good in this game so far. I know that was a big question a lot of you guys had, is how is he going to perform tonight? Ezekiel Elliott's looked great. So both the running backs in this backfield have looked great tonight. Dalton Schultz got a touchdown, of course. I mean, a guy that I've been considering starting in and out. I mean, at different points the whole season, right? And finally gets an actual touchdown. So he's looked very good. But what are you going to do, man? Someone who I wanted to start all year long, and that of Dalton Schultz, right? But yeah, glad to see him get the touchdown. It's been a pretty interesting game, right? I mean, we're seeing tight ends involved, we're seeing running backs involved, right? So, I mean, nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. Kind of how, I mean, I kind of anticipate this game actually being essentially a little bit more defensive overall. I was kind of looking for a closer game in the NFC matchup, but nonetheless, this is what we've been given, and Cowboys got up early in this one. I mean, Eagles had some opportunities to settle the score a little bit, at least make the score a little bit closer earlier on, as Dak gets hit on 2nd and 14 and is taken down. Kind of got sideswiped by Fletcher Cox, it looked like, but gets taken down by number 97 there, so good play for the Eagles there. I mean, they got a, oh, there's a flag down now. See, holding on the offense. So I'm assuming they'll decline that, yeah. But let's see here, man. I'm expecting to see a little bit more out of Tony Pollard tonight. He's already got 10 rushing attempts for 56 rushing yards, right? And then Elliott's looked great tonight as well. Yeah, 12 rushing attempts, 73 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 3 receptions for 21 receiving yards. So Zeke's looked fantastic out there. And as I look up on 3rd and 17, he is taken off again, but does not pick up the first down here. Cowboys going to come off the field. Man, with all the momentum that they have right now, I mean, I think consider just going for it. Why not? Wow, there's Pollard's on their special teams. I feel like that's a little risky for a player that's getting as many snaps as he is, but what do I know? Yeah, Eagles got to, wow, missed tackle on the punt there. Showing Peyton in the crowds. It's hilarious. Yeah, Eagles got to get back in this game right here, man. They have to score on this drive. And if they do, they can get some more defensive stops. I mean, they're in this game, man. Certainly far from over at the moment. Let's see if we can't score in Madden. Wow. On the run, tipped pass. Derek Carr's flexing on me. Jeez. Wow, he's excited. So I do want to get into... Oh, wow. I tried to send the field goal and we missed it. Wow. What's happening in this game of Madden? I do want to get into some of these upcoming games, for Week 4. I mean, it's crazy, man. We're already almost done with a whole month of football. It's flying by. It's crazy. But I do want to get into some potential Week 4 predictions, at least from a fantasy perspective. So we might do a little bit of that on tonight's stream as well. But yeah, it's already time to start looking into Week 4, which is absolutely bonkers, man. So I'll probably pull up some of my Week 4 matchups to see what we got going on. As I'm lost by 30 points in my primary 12-man league, so that's awesome. Also left about... well, I left James Robinson on the bench. So I would have started 3 running backs anyway, so I only left about 15 points on the bench. Let's see, Lamar Jackson at Denver. I do not like that matchup. Let me tell you. I'm not a fan of that matchup. Man, Dak had under 8 points last week, and I know it's still early in this game, but he's sitting around 8 points right now. So if you got Dak against you and you need your opponent to not get a lot of points, the way this game script is going, it might benefit you. Oh, can we break this run? Can we break this Madden water? Oh, no, we're going to get tackled. All right, let's see here. Yeah, Lamar Jackson versus Denver. Not going to be fun for me, man. Lamar is actually starting to worry me a tad bit. All right, Jalen Hurts got a 1st and 10. Eagles got to score. Absolutely have to score. Dropping back. A lot of pressure. Man, there's been a lot of tight coverage by Dallas tonight. They've done a pretty good job of applying pressure as well. But a lot of tight pressure, man. Yeah, they're showing Dan Quinn. I mean, he's doing a good job. I mean, it's early in the season. The Cowboys are 1-1, but yeah, I like where Dan Quinn's at, man. Interesting, though. I mean, Jalen Smith, we haven't seen too much of him, right? Vander Esk, we haven't seen too much of him either. Actually, I think they're both on the field right now. Jalen taking off here, 2nd and 10. Got a couple yards. Supersized Senpai says, Cowboys. What is going on, man? Good to see you in the chat, brother. Good to see you, as always, in the live stream, my guy. I know you're excited right now. Beating up on a divisional opponent, too. Man, if the Eagles don't get in it, right now, I don't know if they're going to be able to have a chance in this game at all. Cowboys look great, man. The running attack looks phenomenal. Passing game hasn't had to do a whole lot the way this game script has gone. Now the Eagles are going to get backed up here on 3rd down. Yeah, I mean, this 1-2 punch of Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard is it's for real, man. If you're an opposing defensive coordinator, it's pretty scary. And through the first 2 weeks, Eagles have looked pretty good defensively, right? So it's not a good sign if you're a Philly fan, that's for sure. Great sign if you are a Cowboys fan, like our guy, Supersized Senpai. All right, 3rd and 8. Let's see here. Another flag. Blown dead. Maybe just timeout. Yeah, Jalen Hurts looks frustrated, man. Also, what the hell just happened in Madden with that Giant third down conversion. All right, 3rd and 8. Eagles got to get a conversion here, man. A lot of time left in this game. A lot of time for Eagles get some garbage time points in fantasy, that's for sure. I don't think Miles Sanders has done anything tonight. Devonta Smith hasn't done much anything. Jalen hasn't done much anything. The only touchdown he has defensively. Oh gosh, they're showing Jalen Hurts, Tua, and Mac Jones. Wow. That is kind of crazy that showing all of them in college. Like a picture they took together. It is kind of crazy to see. All right, 3rd and 8. Hurts stepping back. A lot of pressure once again. Tossing it up. Tight coverage. Do they get the flag, though? Whoa, he caught that. Caught that and they get the flag. Well, there's a little bit of a break for the Eagles, man. But overall, is it going to be enough? I don't know. A lot of time left in this game, man. Supersize Senpai. One fantasy this weekend. Dallas should be taking this W, man. It's been a good week. Yeah, I mean, no better feeling than winning, in fantasy and getting the combination of winning with your real life team as well. So, yeah, man, congrats. And I'm happy for you, my guy. Truly am. And yeah, I think that Dallas is going to win this game, but there's a lot of time left in this game for the Eagles to muster up something, man. But they got to score on this drive right here, I think, personally, just to capture enough momentum, right? Hurts dropping back on 1st and 10, pump faking, scrambling out to the right. It's knocked out of bounds. And it'll be 2nd down. Yeah, I do think that Dallas will come away with this dub here. But plenty of time for Philly to do something, right? Maybe apply a little bit of pressure. So we'll see what happens. Wow. I couldn't tell if that was a replay or a live play, but yeah, Zach Ertz with a big pickup there. Eagles driving, man. Eagles are driving. Supersize Senpai. Definitely plenty of time for a comeback. There is. It'll at least make it entertaining, right? I'd rather watch an entertaining game than a game where another team just beats up on them. I know it's easier for me to say than you. Being that you're a Dallas fan, I don't want you biting your nails, but yeah, I'd like to see a little bit of a competitive game. I mean, the Eagles were in this game at the beginning, and they got some breaks, right? I mean, if you're asking me, I think Dak scored on that quarterback sneak. I think that, in my opinion, the ball crossed the plane before they called fumble, but what are you going to do, right? 2nd and 10 here for the Eagles. Hurts is dropping back. He's scrambling up to about the 3 or 4 yard line. Oh no, man. Might be seeing the Eagles score right here. That interception by Diggs was filthy, though. Hurts dropping back, 3rd and 2, and Zach Ertz with the touchdown. Wide open, man. Good play by the Eagles there. Yeah. Eagles are back in this thing. 2 scores. To me, it's always been if you're within 2 scores, you're in a game. I mean, depending on time and everything. But, yeah. Eagles are in this one, man. Good throw there by Jalen Hurts. mean, this Cowboys secondary has been relatively vulnerable, so they can't bend at all here. I can tell you that much. We'll see what happens, man. A lot of time left in this game. All right. Super Size Senpai, you got me thinking I should start up my podcast again. Yeah, man. I'd love to show some support. That's awesome, man. I didn't know that you had a podcast before. Was it on football or any other topics or anything, man? I'd be interested to know. And yeah, if you do, let us know, man. Please let us know. We'd love to show some support. And, always open to get something going down, down the road. Steven and I tried to do a duo stream tonight, and it worked fine other than some issues with lagging. So we're going to try and get that smoothed out this week. And really this channel, I think the direction we're going is a lot more live streaming as a whole. Still doing, our must-start fantasy players for the week at each position. A lot more general fantasy Q&A live streaming. But also some podcast format stuff where we're just doing general NFL debate. So we're really excited, but we got some logistics to kind of smooth out as well. But yeah, man, I'd be interested to hear more about your podcast, my guy. It's definitely been a fun ride. I mean, we've only been doing this for a little over 3 months now. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's been a fun run. So hopefully the community continues to grow. But it's a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it, man. So yeah, Lamar Jackson versus Denver coming up here in week 4. I mean, Denver is the #1 defense against opposing quarterbacks right now. So I'm a little worried about that, especially with how Lamar and the Ravens performed against the Lions. I've got Daniel Jones on my bench at this point in time, facing New Orleans this week, which is another difficult matchup, man. Let's see, New Orleans is #2. I mean, this is before the week 3 stats are implemented, right? But at the moment, I've got the best team against opposing quarterbacks and the second best team against opposing quarterbacks. So I'm probably just going to be rolling with Lamar Jackson this coming week. But, I mean, it's just a hard quarterback to bench. Our co-host Steven in the house, what is going on, man? I was just kind of letting everyone know a little bit about how our duo stream didn't quite work out for the night. But happy to have you in the chat, man. Happy to have you up in the hizzy as always, as you say. Ertz cooking. Sorry, I just saw the tweet they put up for Peyton and Eli Monday night. At this point, I'm 80% sure that Eli currently lives at home with his parents. But good to see you, Steven. Yeah, Ertz looks good, man. It truly, truly does. Still a threat, nonetheless. Blonde hair and all. A little bit of a gain here by Ezekiel Elliott on first down. Let's see, Supersize Senpai. It was an anime/geek pop culture. Me and 2 other buddies were doing a bi-weekly podcast, but due to some personal stuff with my friends having schedule issues, we went on hiatus. Word. I am thinking about just doing solo content. Yeah, man. I think making any type of content in your free time is just like a great hobby. And yeah, I definitely would encourage you to do so. Send us, I guess you can't send a link in here. Steven says, that sounds like an awesome channel. Pop culture is an awesome idea for a podcast. Yeah, Steven and I have talked about this a little bit. Well, this is our main channel, and we're still really building the community and everything, and the channel as a whole. I think somewhere down the line, we'd like to have, a channel that stems from this one where we could talk about things other than football because we got a lot of other interests, movies, music, all kinds of things, man. But I think, in terms of football, has always been really something we've had in common since. I mean, we've known each other since second grade, right? And just have not only a love for football, but just kind of an obsession. So channeling that and nerding out through an actual platform, I think has been pretty enjoyable for the both of us. And but yeah, I think somewhere down the road, man, doing something more pop culture oriented would be something that we'd both be interested in. As Dak started to scramble there on 1st and 10, and then he said, "I don't want to take a hit. I've been injured too many times," and just fell down. So, but I can't blame him. Steven says he's a very big movie guy. That is true. I think we both are. And yeah, we love talking about movies, I'll tell you that much. It seems like we should just start a podcast with Super Sai Senpai. I'd be interested to what type of geek pop culture you're into, man. 3rd and 11 here for the Cowboys. Steven says, dope hearing about what everyone in the catch likes to do outside of football as well. Yeah, I 100% agree, man. 100% agree with that statement. All right, 3rd and 11 for the Cowboys. Dak changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Dropping back. Pressure immediately. Gets sacked. That's what the Eagles needed to do, man. Needed to turn on downs, man. The Eagles come out here and score. We got a game. We got a game, fellas. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens here. Tight coverage in Madden, man. Somehow still got a first down. Super Sai Senpai, I could talk all day when it comes to geek culture. Ooh, almost a block by the Eagles. Yeah, if I'm being honest, I have a Star Wars obsession and a Marvel obsession. And I love gaming as well, man. I mean, actually, my first channel that I started was a gaming channel that I would say it failed pretty miserably, but it is out there, right? But yeah, I don't know if that lines up with the same type of geek culture you're into, but super into Marvel, super into comic books, and always been into Star Wars too. But definitely have a nerdy side to me as well. Now, Steven, on the other hand, I think would be more into the movie aspect type of, that whole side of things in terms of pop culture. But I don't want to speak for Steven, of course, but we're both definitely into film as well, I can tell you that much. Good play here by the Eagles on 1st and 10. Wow. Either got exactly enough for another set of downs or missed it by about a yard. Good play by Devonta Smith there. I run Facebook fan page as well called Hidden Geek Village. Podcast is called Dorkology 101. I'm going to check that out, man, when I have some free time for sure. I'm excited for that. Definitely will come out and show you some support, man. Excited to check that out, man. I think it's interesting. A lot of people here in the football are also big nerds at the same time. I know I am myself, so. Oh, Devontae Adams dropping our ball. Steven says, both these teams are starting in their own red zone each time. Yeah, it's been a lot of that tonight. Let's see. Super Size Senpai. Huge comic books, movies, anime, D&D, video games, etc. Cartoons as well. Yeah, man, I'm going to check that out for sure. I'm excited for that. Steven says, awesome podcast name. Love that. Yeah, I'm excited to check that out, man. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take a picture of the live chat right now, so I don't forget that name, in case I can't pull it up later. Ooh, drop pass here by Miles Sanders on 2nd and 11. Tight coverage again, man. Cowboys have looked good tonight defensively. The ball was tipped. Okay. Steven, I had a bet for Sanders to score 1 touchdown. Yeah, Sanders has been pretty quiet tonight, man. Game script hasn't necessarily helped him, but he's been pretty quiet tonight. Cowboys bringing some heat. Jalen, tight coverage again. Diggs has looked good tonight, man. We used to be called the Ataki crew, but too many people kept asking what Ataki means. Steven says Diggs has become such a good corner, so impressed with this kid. Yeah, he's played very, very well tonight. Made this Cowboys secondary more reliable. Yeah. I think that's why they drafted him, too. I mean, they've always been looking for consistency in the secondary. Haven't had a whole lot of it. What was that pass, Teddy? Supersize Senpei. When you check it out, just notes are early stuff, so it's pretty rough. Just a heads up, when we come back to it, we're going to have a far better setup. Hey, you don't have to tell us, man. Trust me, we've been through it here at the Catch in terms of early content, poor setup. We're still pretty early in our own podcasting career, man. So I appreciate the heads up, but don't feel like you need to warn us, man, by any means. But we do appreciate that, and no judgment will be passed. I can tell you that much, man. We're still working on improving our setup every single day. Trust me, it's a nonstop process. It seems like so. I totally understand that, man. As I know the lighting tonight, my purple light is like it looks awful, but so that's a good example, right? My last channel, my gaming channel that failed pretty miserably. I'll have to get you hip to that sometime so you can check out some of my early stuff and laugh at it as well. Incomplete pass here on 2nd and 5 to Amari Cooper. Cowboys already got a 3rd down. This game has gone by fast, man. I thought Coop was going to get that one, man. Low ball. Steven, hearing Peyton evaluate McCarthy's coaching is hilarious, especially at end of first half. I liked when he cooked Joe Buck. I don't know if you guys caught that tonight, but he was talking about how much he was enjoying having Eli as a co-host or whatever you want to call him, and he's like, I need a co-commentator who knows how to call defensive coverages. I'm not looking for someone like Joe Buck, and I'm paraphrasing, but it was pretty funny. Let's see, Steven. Yeah, my setup is awful. I have much improving to do. Yeah, and to be fair to any of our viewers listening tonight, I mean, I had a little bit more experience coming in this channel in comparison to Steven. I had another channel before Steven and I started this channel, and I got a lot of my my early setup and technical stuff out of the way. Got used to talking on camera and making videos on my own. So I had a couple months of experience with everything before Steven did. So, give Steven a break, guys. Give Steven a break. But I'm going to lose this game in Madden, by the way. They're going to kick a field goal and win, so that's great. Fletcher Cox is down right now, which is... if I don't tackle Josh Jacobs, wow, we left... Yeah, that was so bad by the computer. It's going to go to overtime now because they just didn't call a timeout and kick a field goal, so we might win this game. Supersize Simpay, I'm digging the purple. It looks like you're on a chill zone. Oh, I appreciate that, my guy. Yeah, I like the... it's just kind of a big glare on the side of my head. I think it looks pretty cool, too, actually, but it wasn't intentional. I just haven't gotten up and fixed it, but... yeah, I'm glad you like it, man. All right, let's see. We're kicking the ball off in overtime, man. Not that anyone really cares about this game of Madden. Fletcher Cox still down. Okay, he's getting up now. That is a big dude right there. Remember when that thing was going around way back in the day, talking about how much money would you pay? Did they just give him pickle juice? He must be cramping. How much money would you be paid to let Ray Lewis tackle you, like straight on with no protection or whatever? I don't know. I just, after seeing Fletcher Cox, that made me think of Ray Lewis. Black face mask and everything. And how scary it would be to be tackled in an open field by Ray Lewis. Anyways, Steven, Kenneth Gainwell hasn't done anything first game being a non-factor. Yeah, I'm not completely sold that he's going to be a factor every single game, in my personal opinion. But I think in games where Philly's getting up and involved early, he's going to be more of a factor, as opposed to games like this where he is, or the Eagles are playing from behind, right? So the game script hasn't really supported the running game either. So, I mean, Miles Sanders has been pretty quiet tonight as well. Overall, I mean, offensively, the Eagles really haven't done a whole lot of anything outside of Zach Ertz, right? So it's been an interesting game. Eagles really haven't had any positive momentum as well. All right, we've got to get a stop here in Madden. Oh, gosh. Henry Ruggs. Did he get the first? Or is that inches? Inches, thank you. Steven says Stafford was an awesome guest. Yeah, he was great. Probably my favorite guest tonight, to be honest. LeBron was all right. Don't get me wrong. And plenty of time for Chris Long to show up here and do something cool. All right, so let's get into some of my Week 4 matchups as well. Fantasy catch-up. I'd trade Jalen Hurts to Houston for Brandon Cooks or a first-round pick. Yeah, I mean, if you can get Deshaun Watson out of it, too, why not? If you get Deshaun Watson and a first-round pick, or... I mean, maybe they don't need to trade for Deshaun Watson, but if they can come out with Brandon Cooks' first-round pick and Deshaun Watson, yeah, that'd be excellent. But I don't want to give up on Jalen Hurts too early. Process is a sad Eagles fan. Hey, man, there's still time left in this game. But at least Devontae Adams got you your catch last night, man. I'm still hype on that. Got on the stream last night, and Process said, I need one catch by Devontae Adams to win my fantasy matchup. And it almost didn't happen, but it did happen. He actually got 2 catches. So we were pumped for you, man. That was super exciting. Let's see, 1st and 10 to CeeDee Lamb. Good pickup, about 5 yards or so. Supersize Senpai, I'm a big dude, used to play football in high school. If the money is right, I would totally take a hit from Lewis once we get out of the hospital. It's party time. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that, man. I would probably let Ray Lewis tackle me in the open field as hard as he could, full pads and everything with me and no pads, if the money was right as well. Zeke picks up a first down here. Gosh, we got to get we got to do something in Madden here, guys. The heck? All right. Let's see. Let's see. This is Supersized Senpai at the process. Happy Cowboys fan here. Yeah. Cowboys look good tonight, man. They truly do. Tough game for the Eagles, but they got some time to get some positive momentum going here. Design run, it looked like, by Dak Prescott there, and that's dangerous if you're asking me. We need to protect Dak, right? Fantasy catch-up, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, there's your future. Yeah, I don't disagree, man. I truly don't. I would throw Kyler Murray in there, but in terms of young quarterbacks, and honestly, I would probably put Dak in there as well. I think those are really the young gunslingers who are ready to take over the league. But, we got Russell Wilson out here. We got Brady still playing, right? I mean, Dak just got leveled. Second and goal there. There's still a lot of good quarterbacks in the league. But in terms of the future, wow. I just tied a game of Madden because I was watching the actual football game, which is fine, man. It's just Madden. But all I need to do is take a timeout and kick a field goal, and we would have got a win there. So, oh well, it's just Madden. Let's see. Fantasy Catch-Up says, I forgot Joe Burrow. Yeah, he's got a little bit more to prove, I would say. But he could definitely be a part of the future as well. Flag down on 3rd and goal. Dumps it off to Ezekiel Elliott. And we'll see what the flag is. Jason Kenobi, I came into tonight of 6 with Zeke and Goddard versus Dak and Devonta. ESPN projected me to lose, and I think I basically won. Yeah, man. We talked about this last night, right? And yeah, I said I thought it was pretty possible that you could actually win. And I was just talking about this a little bit ago before you got on, how Dak was kind of hovering in like an 8-point range. And he could still throw a touchdown or two. But I think if the Cowboys get up here, and let's see, I mean, he's dropping back. He's going to run. He's going to get stopped, though. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much it's going to be necessary to keep Dak in this game. They might be going for it. We'll find out in a second here. They are going for it. Well, that's going to hurt you. Going to hurt you, Jason Kenobi. I think if you're asking me, just take the points here. If you don't score here, you're giving the Eagles another chance to stay in this game. And Dak's going to find... Wow. Great touchdown. Good play. Let's see. Jason Kenobi, those hospital bills, that price better be so high. Yeah, I think the original question about letting Ray Lewis smack you in the open field, it was like $1 million question. And it was like, I don't want to say a meme. This was like a long time ago. I think it was before memes were a thing, but it was just like a picture of Ray Lewis like sweating with his full gear on. Wow. That was a beautiful touchdown, though, man. Let's see. Supersized Epi. Oh, yeah, we haven't talked about Josh Gordon and the Chiefs. I knew he would be snatched up before Tuesday. I'm sure he'll be playing by week 6 or 7. It's possible, man. I mean, I know he's just on the practice squad right now. But I think for your sake, in terms of picking him up early on the waiver wire, right, he definitely landed in a good spot. I like Josh Gordon on the Chiefs, but we will see how it progresses. It's certainly something that we're going to have to monitor, right? Because being on the practice squad doesn't mean a whole lot. But don't get me wrong, man. It's a positive sign. And there's just some clickbaity stuff out there. Josh Gordon to the Chiefs, and how much better are the Chiefs now that they have Josh Gordon. And I'm like, he's on the practice squad right now, so let's sit back and wait. But for your sake, I certainly hope that he is suiting up by week 6 or 7, man. And I hope that he plays well. I like Josh Gordon, man. I do. So I know that we know the talent that's there, man. And yeah, I hope that it works out for not just for your fantasy sake, but for Josh Gordon and for the Chiefs as well. Who, hey, man, we got to. Kansas City Chiefs are last in their division. This Denver Broncos team is 3-0, and they look fucking amazing. The Las Vegas Raiders are 3-0, and they look like they can beat anyone, no matter the odds. Right? The Chargers just knocked off the Chiefs. I mean, it's early in the season, man, but there's some turmoil out there in Kansas City, and they need a little boost. But I mean, while I think it's good to have a boost offensively, they need a boost defensively, especially in that secondary, man. And right now, I mean, Kansas City is just playing relatively reckless overall. And it's fine when they're winning football games, but when they're playing reckless and they're turning the ball over and they're not winning football games, and when Tyreek Hill is not playing very well, it's a little scary out there. But they got plenty of time to turn it around. And don't get me wrong, they're coached very well, and they have the best quarterback in the league, right? So they got plenty of time to figure it out, but a little bit of turmoil at this point in time for sure. Damn, can you guys see these setups that Peyton and Eli have? I mean, I get it, man. They're sponsored through ESPN, and I'm assuming, right, ESPN is helping pay for all of that. But even if not, man, they don't need anyone to pay for it, right? But holy cow, man, we got to get a setup like that going up here at the Catch, man. Holy cow. All right, let's see. Steven says, terrible game plan. The Eagles barely ran the ball. Yeah, they haven't looked all the way there tonight, man. I can tell you that much. Supersize Sepe, how well Gordon does is a real question mark, though. Yeah, and that's the point I'm getting at, man, is when is he off the practice squad, and how well does he actually kind of get back into gear, right? But it can certainly work out. Don't get me wrong, man. Fantasy catch-up. Best wide receiver this year, and why? Minus Cooper Kupp. One, he's white. Okay. Let's see. 2, balled out all 3 weeks. 3, 100-plus yards in each game, and a TD. Yeah, I think when we're looking at receivers, you could certainly make the argument that Cooper Kupp is playing like the best receiver in the league right now. I'm still pretty sold on Davante Adams and kind of just the value he brings to his team alone, right? I mean, it's like every time I looked up last night, he was catching the football, right? And I don't think that the Packers win that game without Davante Adams. And I think he is a unique receiver that is almost at like an MVP type caliber in terms of what he brings to his respective team. But yeah, I think right now, the way the season is going, Cooper Kupp is easily a top 3. And yeah, I don't have any problem with you arguing that he's the number 1 receiver in the league right now. But I mean, I know week 1 for the Packers has been awful, but I mean, there's a lot of receivers that I still am really high on right now, right? We've seen some bad games out of Tyreek Hill. And honestly, I mean, Chiefs are scaring us a little bit like we just talked about, right? But hard for me to pass up on Adams and Hill. And I know DeAndre Hopkins was banged up this past week, but still love D-Hop, still love Stephon Diggs, still really high on DK Metcalf. I don't want to get away from that take because I was super high on DK Metcalf in the offseason, preseason. And yeah, I still think he looks fantastic the way he's been playing. So it's a tough question, man. It truly is. Let's see. Supersize Senpai says, let's go, Dak. Yeah, I know you were hype on that last touchdown on 4th down for sure, man. Jason Kenobi, I'm still up 20. After that, I'll be fine. Knock on wood. Yeah, we'll knock on. I just knocked on wood for you too, literally. So you should be fine though, if you're asking me, man. Jason Kenobi, I'll still take Devontae Adams. Yeah, that's where I sit right now. I think he is the most valuable receiver to his respective team. Dylan Macy, what is going on, man? Hope you're doing well. Happy to see you in the chat tonight. Happy to have you here in the live stream tonight as well. Should I trade Keenan Allen or Mike Williams? I need a running back bad. Man, I've been thinking about Mike Williams a lot lately. One of the first videos I ever did on this channel was about sleeper wide receivers going into this year. And one of the guys talked about on that video was Mike Williams. And someone I talked about all offseason and all preseason was Mike Williams. Someone who I drafted in a ton of mock drafts was Mike Williams. And I did not select him in a single physical draft. And I'm really regretting it right now. I really like Keenan Allen, man. Truly, truly do. But gosh, this pace that Mike Williams is on is insane. Like, I think this guy could score a touchdown in every single game. Let's see. Keenan Allen looks fantastic as well, man. Full PPR, 19 points week 1, 14.8 in week 2, and in week 3, another 19-point game. So 9 receptions, 100 receiving yards in week 1, 4 receptions for 108 receiving yards in week 2, and then here in week 3 we had 8 receptions for 50 receiving yards and a touchdown. So he looks fantastic, and he is the #1 receiver for the Chargers, right? But Mike Williams, full PPR, 22 points, 33 points. 8 receptions, 82 receiving yards, and a touchdown in week 1. 7 receptions, 91 receiving yards, and a touchdown in week 2. And then in week 3, 7 receptions, 122 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns, and a 2-point conversion. I think you can get a lot of value out of trading Keenan Allen. And it pains me to say, man. It truly does. The risk you take there is, it's a tough call because if this Chargers team starts to change offensively, right? I don't know, man. Then you're losing the #1 receiver from the Chargers. But at the moment, Mike Williams looks to be the more valuable fantasy player. I think if you trade Mike Williams, which I don't think I'm advising to do, I mean, you might be able to get numerous players out of the trade, right? So I don't want you to trade Mike Williams, but I think if you do, you might be able to get like 2 or 3 studs, right? I would, if you truly want to trade one of those 2 players, right? I would trade Keenan Allen at this point in time. But just know the risk that you run with trading a #1 receiver. But like I said, Mike Williams looks to be the more valuable guy in that offense. And I'm still beating myself up for not selecting him in any physical drafts. Now, I mean, I have to admit that Steven's mom, I think she purposely stole him in our 12-man league a little bit earlier because of, her being hip to how much I liked him, like she did with a couple other players. But nonetheless, man, I still can't believe I missed out on that one. Let me know who you're looking to target in a trade, Dylan. And it's a tough call there, but Mike Williams looks absolutely insane right now, is all I have to say. Fantasy catch-up. You have B. Cooks, Mike Evans, Jamar Chase, Allen Robinson, and Julio Jones. Who would you trade? I need a running back too. Honestly, man, at the moment, I would try and trade Allen Robinson. I know that he's probably the most unlikely player to be traded because he probably has the lowest value. But the way that the Bears look overall, I think that's the player that you have to trade. But if you're trying to get a better value, I would not trade Jamar Chase. I can tell you that much. I truly, truly wouldn't. In terms of between Julio and Mike Evans, that's another tough call. I mean, Julio's going to get a lot more targets with this injury to A.J. Brown. And, I mean, I know he's been a little underwhelming outside of week 2, but he's got the Jets and the Jaguars coming up, and he's going to see an increased amount of targets. So I think he's good. I think he's worth holding on to right now. And then I'm not advising trading Brandon Cooks the way that the Texans are playing, which I thought I'd never say. And Mike Evans looks pretty decent right now. The only kind of disappointing performance was week 1. So I would kind of teeter-totter. If you really need a value running back and you can get one by trading Mike Evans, I would consider it. But I still don't like it. I mean, I still would hate to see you lose Mike Evans. But I think Julio over the next 2 weeks is going to be very valuable. But I would consider trading Julio before I traded Mike Evans, right? So we see a big collision on the sideline for the Cowboys and Eagles, and I thought a fight was about to break out. Holy crap. And coach or trainer or someone got, like, decimated. Jeez. But getting back to your question, I'm just waiting for a fight to break out. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised we did not see a fight break out there, to be honest, knowing these two teams. Getting back to your question, Fantasy Catch-Up, I would not trade Chase or Cooks, and I would try to trade Allen Robinson to maybe a team that's desperate at receiver, right? And see if you can get a pretty standard running back you feel confident in. I would try that first, and then if not, it's tough, but I think you consider Julio or Mike Evans, but I still like both of them on the season. So you'd have to be looking at pretty good value that you're getting back there, right? That's a tough call, man. But the way Jamar Chase is playing right now, I would not give up on him. As Jalen Hurts gets sacked by about 3 different Cowboys at once. Holy cow. Parsons has looked great so far this season, man. Really like this guy. Rio Gooded, what is going on, man? Happy to see you, man. Sorry that you hopped into some of our earlier streams this night where we were trying to get Steven in on the live stream. We had some technical difficulties, but thank you for showing support and letting us know about those technical difficulties earlier, man. We truly, truly do appreciate you, man. Appreciate you being such a loyal member of the Catch Fam week in and week out. Oh my God, I'm up by 1 point. I have 99. He's 98. I have Zeke, and he has Dak. This is so scary. Yeah, I can only imagine. The thing that's going to favor you here is that the Cowboys are up by a lot of points, and they don't really need to throw the ball. The thing that's not going to favor you is that Tony Pollard's about to be implemented a little bit, and they might not need to put Zeke back in this game at all. So I can definitely see that this is going to be quite a nail-biter for you. But if the Cowboys don't pick up a first down here, they're dropping back to pass, but Zeke's lined up, and Dak's looking his way. Okay, Dak completes a pass to Pollard, so that's probably not good for you. Zeke was on the left side there. I think he was using that look to Zeke as an overall distraction. Yeah, you're gonna be biting your nails real good. Let us know how it's looking for you, man. Fancy Ketchup. I got offered D. Harris and CEH for a Robinson from this one guy's LO Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Damian Harris. Honestly, man, if you need a running back and they're offering you both of those guys for Robinson, I would take that trade. I mean, you're still getting 2 number 1 running backs. So if you need a running back, I mean, I know that they're both coming off of bad weeks, but I would look I would definitely make that trade if I were you, man. Rio goated, not good news. Dak Prescott just threw another touchdown. So I don't think you're up anymore, which is not good. And is that Dalton Schultz again? Man, we've been monitoring Dalton Schultz since week 1. Picked him up after week 1, and he did nothing. Dropped him, and now he's got a 2-touchdown performance against the Eagles. Good design play there, man. Yeah, good play by Dalton Schultz after all. Or overall. Schultz going to be on our waiver wire. We already did a waiver wire episode, and this is why it's the only disadvantage to doing it before Monday Night Football. Is we're probably going to have to put out a reaction video in the morning, man. Yeah, Dalton Schultz is balling out, man. Jason Kenobi, what wide receiver targets do you think I should trade for because Woods is no longer a wide receiver 2? It's a good question. Let's see here. It's tough to answer, but we'll figure it out here for you. Let me just pull up a couple things for you. You might be able to trade for Calvin Ridley. I mean, he's played well, but he hasn't played fantastic, and I know a lot of owners are not feeling great about him, so I like where he's at as a trade target. Honestly, I like where CeeDee Lamb is at, especially after, I mean, he hasn't really had to do anything tonight, so it's kind of an underwhelming performance, but he's going to have plenty more weeks like we saw in week 1, so I think he might be another kind of elite target you could have, right? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, that's right. Man, I actually think that Keenan Allen's a pretty good trade target too, as a lot of owners are kind of underwhelmed with him, or may just be seeing how well not Devontae Adams. I was looking at my Madden screen. How well Keenan Allen's playing, right? And or not how well Mike Williams has been playing. Excuse me. So I don't know if that's really realistic, but he might be another good player to target. Amari Cooper's had a pretty underperforming this week and last week has underperformed, and yeah, he might be someone who's going to have some more games closer to week 1 coming up that you can consider, right? Tyler Lockett had a really quiet week and faces San Francisco and the Rams. He might be a good trade target. Man, Adam Thielen's been great this year. I think Thielen's a good trade target, as is Scary Terry. So I think there's a lot of elite receivers that you can always potentially trade for. And that's kind of the nice thing is a lot of elite receivers still have kind of underperforming weeks. And if they have 1 or 2 of them in a row, then they become pretty prime trade candidates, right? So I think there's a lot of people out there right now. So let me know who you think you have a realistic shot at getting and who you're looking to trade for one of those receivers as well. Because I think if you trade, you go big or you go home, right? Eagles trying to get something going. Dak Prescott, 21-26, 238 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Let's see, fantasy catch-up. But I got offered Chris Carson and Cortland Sutton for Jamar Chase. I think that's a decent trade, as I think Chris Carson's the better back out of the 3 that you've been offered as a whole, right? But I think Jamar Chase is... I think he's worth holding on to, man. I mean, Carson's had 12-plus points in full PPR every week this year, and I like Cortland Sutton a lot. He's got a very easy strength of schedule, Um, but I still would argue that the trade for Damian Harris and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to give you more depth at the running back position, and it's going to give you two RB1s where you don't have to give up really a lot of value at all, man. I would rather have Jamar Chase, Damian Harris. Yeah, I would rather have those guys and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who I haven't been a big fan of. But I think the value of Jamar Chase still being on your roster is kind of where you're winning in that trade there. So it's a tough call, man. I think either way, regardless of which trade you go with, you're still going to have a good roster overall. But yeah, I mean, I really like Cortland Sutton on the season. Got a very easy strength of schedule, right? So I don't think that's a bad trade if you have more conviction in Carson overall and starting him on a week in and week out basis. So I think they're both pretty good trades. I think if you do go with either one, you'll end up. I mean, I think your roster is going to be fine either way. Real good and wow, man. I'm just going to quit fantasy at this point. Dak just scored a game-winning touchdown. I'm down, and I'm down by 4. I'm done. Yeah, man. I hear you. It's been a frustrating season so far, but it's a long season. It is a long, long season. So don't get too disappointed, man. I only put up like 77 fantasy points in my primary league this week. I mean, I had a god-awful week. In my 20-man league, I did okay. But I dropped Brandon McManus for Graham Gano. Okay. I could have traded for Taylor Heineke instead of Trevor Lawrence, right? And I lost by 9 points. So if I hadn't dropped Brandon McManus and I had just started him, and instead of picking up Graham Gano and starting him, I would have won. If I had traded for Taylor Heineke instead of Trevor Lawrence, I would have won. If I had just picked up Jacoby Brissett while he was available on the waiver wire and started him, once again, I would have won. If Aaron Jones had got 9 more points in last night's Sunday night game, I would have won. So it was a frustrating week for me too, man. But do not give up, man. It is a long, long season. There's plenty of time left. I know we talked about this last week, man, but you got plenty of time, man. And I know it's hard to believe, but it's definitely true. I mean, I've started off fantasy years before, 0-3, 0-4, 1-5, all kinds of things, and still made the playoffs. You just gotta. It's a weekly commitment, man. And a lot of things change. A lot of things will change between now and week 10, and now in week 5, and now in week 12. So there's plenty of time left, man. Plenty of more waiver wire additions that are going to pop up. So we've got plenty of time to turn things around. So don't give up, man. Don't quit. But I certainly understand that it's frustrating. Jason Kenobi, do you think James Conner is a decent backup running back to play when my starters are on bye? Yeah, I do. Just being that the Arizona Cardinals have a chance to put up a vast amount of points at any time, and he's going to be a part of that, right? I mean, I think this past weekend was a really good example of the type of games that James Conner can have from a fantasy perspective. But is he going to be that consistent? I don't know. I think it also goes back to how many playmakers are on this team as a whole, right? I mean, 5 points in week 1, 2 points in week 2, give or take, right? And then week 3 against Jacksonville goes off for 18 points. So I think he'll have more games like that. But I think he'll have more games where he's only putting up 5 points as well. So, yeah, I do think he's a decent player to plug in when you have starters on bye week and things like that as well. Charlie, what is going on, man? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the catch. Welcome to the live stream, man. Happy to have you here tonight. Panic on Robert Woods. I wouldn't panic yet. I'm not panicking on Robert Woods whatsoever, man. Yes, he is not necessarily doing what Cooper Kupp is doing in that offense, sure. But I think on a consistent basis, he's probably still looking to get you about 12 points a week in full PPR. Is he going to have weeks like last week? Sure. But so is Mike Evans, right? So is Cortland Sutton. So are a lot of other receivers, right? Especially in more loaded offenses, right? With a lot of different, a lot of different playmakers, right? I mean, even tonight, Amari Cooper is not having a good game, right? But there's so many playmakers on this Dallas offense that he's not going to have a crazy game every single week. And I actually think that with Robert Woods, he's going to be a little bit more consistent on the season in terms of where his ceiling lies week in and week out. So I would not panic. I would certainly not drop him. If you feel inclined to make him a part of a trade, I think that's fine. Wow, that was a beautiful touchdown. Beautiful play by Jalen Hurts. I mean, that's the type of flashes that we look for. That's the frustrating thing if you're an Eagles fan. You wish that was happening every play, but beautiful touchdown throw to Ward there, basically from the sideline. I mean, Jalen Hurts was so far out to the right there. Great throw. That replay is ridiculous, but a little too late. But gosh, that might be the best throw we've seen all night. Let's see. The Chosen Rose. Do you trust James Robinson now? Uh, I want to. I mean, this is a guy I vouched for all offseason, all preseason. Someone that I made a prime target in all my drafts, right? I mean, I essentially drafted him in the third round of both of my primary fantasy drafts this year. And listen, from a full PPR standpoint, he hasn't played awful by any means. We've just been looking for much higher ceilings, and I'm going to probably be starting him. I mean, in my 12-man league where I benched him this past week when he went off for 25 points, I have Christian McCaffrey, Javonte Williams, and David Montgomery. So, in my 12-man league, I'm pretty much forced to start him with Christian McCaffrey being injured, right? But I mean, he's facing Cincinnati, who is the 19th ranked team against opposing running backs. Then Tennessee is 15th ranked. Then Miami is 31st ranked right now. So he's got some pretty good matchups coming up here. And I don't know. I don't think it's that I don't necessarily trust James Robinson. It's more that I don't trust this coaching staff, and I don't trust Urban Meyer to consistently properly implement James Robinson. But what we saw yesterday versus Arizona was definitely it was encouraging as a whole. So I have always trusted James Robinson. I just don't trust this coaching staff and the way that they choose to use him. I mean, the usage in week one was just god awful against Houston, who's been very poor against opposing running backs on the season, right? Week two, I'll actually give James Robinson a break. Denver is the second best team in the league against opposing running backs, so I'll give him a break there, and the coaching staff a break there as well. But Arizona's pretty middle of the pack, 14th best team against opposing running backs, and he played very, very well against them, right? And yeah, a couple good matchups coming up here, so I think this will be a good testament to if we can trust James Robinson as a whole on the season. And I still trust James Robinson. I always did. I just don't trust this coaching staff, and I don't trust Urban Myers, whatsoever. But I certainly hope overall that we see a lot more out of James Robinson on a weekly basis, and I think that we will, man. I just really hope that Urban Meyer and company have learned from their mistakes, to say the least. Supersize Simpe. I think it's safe to say this game is over. LOL. Yeah, I would agree with that notion. I don't think at this point there's much left for the Eagles to do. I mean, they fought back a little bit, but they needed to do a lot more tonight in order to win this football game, and they didn't necessarily do so. So, good win by the Cowboys overall, and not the most entertaining game, but from a fantasy perspective, still a lot of implications here, right? And I know for a lot of you guys, I mean, Supersize, I know you're a Cowboys fan, so this is probably a very entertaining game. But I know this game had a lot of fantasy implications for a lot of people between Zeke, Tony Pollard, those Cowboys wide receivers, Dak, Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, right? But Dalton Schultz and Zach Ertz kind of stole the show tonight, right? So I don't know, man. Now I'm kind of debating, do I need to go put in a waiver for Dalton Schultz? But he just got the right looks tonight, right? So Zach Ertz scoring is kind of a crazy thing. I mean, I guess it's not a crazy thing. He used to be a top 5 tight end every year. All right, let's see. Real good. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I just lost. I didn't care what to do. I had heartbreaking losses back-to-back, and now I'm 0-3. I'm really angry right now. Yeah. Listen, man, I totally get it. I totally get it. I've had basically nothing but heartbreaking losses this year. I've got one win. I got, a win in week 1 in both my leagues. But I really, I've had enough in place to win every single game this year. So it's been frustrating, man. I definitely hear you in that regard. But don't give up, man. It is a super long season. There is plenty of time left. I promise you. Stay calm, man, and keep battling because it ain't over till the fat lady sings, as they say, man. And I think there's a lot of time left for you to turn things around, and we will certainly help you in any way that we can. So I totally understand where you're coming from, man. Don't get me wrong, but there's definitely time to get things turned around, without a doubt. All right, so let's break down. I want to look at where I'm looking in my primary 12-man league, what I'm looking at for week 4, as it's time to move on from week 3. Yeah, I put up 76 fantasy points. Christian McCaffrey got hurt. David Montgomery had a bad game. Zach Pascal had a bad game. KJ Osborne did next to nothing. Mike Gesicki ended up having a good game. Javonte Williams ended up having a good game. Matt Gay, kicker of the LA Rams, had a great game, 10 points, right? The Rams defense, I don't know why I started them. I'll blame myself for that one. I have, between Tim Patrick, Henry Ruggs, and James Robinson, about 40 points on my bench. Lamar Jackson didn't have a good game. It was a bad week for me, man. Bad week. So yeah, got Lamar Jackson going up against the Denver Broncos this week, which is another bad matchup. Denver Broncos are best team in the league against opposing quarterbacks. David Montgomery versus Detroit should be a better week for Montgomery, but we don't know who's going to be playing at the quarterback position. And I'm truly hoping that it's someone who looks better than what we saw out of Justin Fields this past week, right? I mean, no offense to Justin Fields. I still believe in him in the long term, and the offensive line for the Bears looks god-awful, but I need someone to help out my guy, D. Montgomery, man. I truly do. James Robinson versus Cincinnati is a pretty good matchup. Since he's played all right against the run, but they're still coming in like the 19th worst team in the league. So I like that matchup this week. I'm definitely going to be starting both of those guys, but I need to see it. I mean, David Montgomery, Lions are like the 24th ranked team against opposing running backs, so I definitely need to see a little bit more out of him in this week 4 matchup, man. Crazy. I mean, we're already almost a month through the season. It always flies by, man. So much preparation, and then it just comes and goes, man. Eagles are still fighting back, man. Did Jalen Hurts do anything for anyone who owns Jalen Hurts in fantasy? We'll see. Little dump off to Boston Scott there. Yeah, so I'm planning on starting Tim Patrick versus Baltimore this week. Tim Patrick had another good week against the Jets. He's had at least 11 points every week so far. Baltimore, pretty good against posting receivers, but I still like him this week. Henry Ruggs is someone who I don't want to bench anymore. He's going up against the Chargers, who are good against posting receivers, fifth best team in the league. But I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to bench Henry Ruggs anymore. Mike Gesicki, finally a good game, going up against the Colts, who are pretty good against tight ends. So I got some tough matchups this week, man. Overall, Javonte Williams has Baltimore. Let's see where they're sitting. 26th worst team against opposing running backs. I'm not crazy about anyone on my bench. Zach Pascal really disappointed me this past week against the worst team in the league in terms of their secondary. So KJ Osborne did nothing. He's got Cleveland in week 4. Corey Davis has got Tennessee, but I don't know that I can trust the New York Jets, right? I don't know that I can trust Zach Wilson. So I've got a waiver in for our guy Chuba Hubbard. I've got a waiver in for the Saints defense. And if those don't go through, I've got a waiver in for Sam Darnold right now, which I actually don't mind whatsoever. I've still got Danny Dimes on my bench, but I'm looking to kind of get rid of him, man, to be honest. He didn't perform against Atlanta, and I'm kind of upset about that. I'm kind of upset with Danny Dimes right now. All right, let's see. Jason Kenobi, I had a heartbreaking loss last week by 1 point, but I came back this week. That's what's up, man. Happy to hear that. Happy to see any of the Catch fam come out here and get a dub. It's a good feeling, man. It's a long, long season. Even if you're coming up 1-2, man, you got plenty of time, man. Just don't sweat it, man. I'm 1-2 in both my leagues right now, and like I said, I basically have had everything in place to win both, week 2 and week 3, and still came up short. So don't let it get to you guys. There's plenty of time to still turn things around in your respective fantasy seasons. All right, Nick Swank, what is going on, man? Welcome to the Catch. Hope you are doing fantastic tonight. Hope you had a great fantasy week, man. Hope you consider becoming part of the Catch fan, but if not, man, we just appreciate you being up in the live stream here for our Monday night, late night hangout post Monday Night Football as the Cowboys are taking a knee and ending the game victory formation. All right, should I trade A-Rob and Fant for James Robinson and Darnell Mooney? That is a tough call. Let's see. I have Kamara, but my running back 2 is Mike Davis. But I also have Justin Jefferson and Deontay Johnson. Let me clarify for me that is supposed to say a Rod and not a Rob. Oh, no. It is supposed to say a Rob. I'm sorry. Allen Robinson. Okay. So Allen Robinson and Fant for James Robinson and Darnell Mooney. And you've got Kamara. So you need help at the running back position. And you're getting... I guess Mooney isn't someone... Well, Mooney still helps you because of the injury to Deontay Johnson. So, in terms of depth, I think it's a good trade. I'd be interested to see what other tight end you have because I do think on the season Noah Fant's going to have a great year and continue to see what we've seen out of him here through the first 3 weeks, although I know he didn't perform very well in week 3, although he just didn't really need to, the way the Broncos played. You've also got Mark Andrews. Okay. At that point, sure. I don't think that's a bad trade. Of course, yeah, I think right now is a good time to trade Allen Robinson. And if you've got Mark Andrews as your primary tight end 1, then, yeah, I don't think that's a bad trade. I don't. But I'm not very, very high on the Bears right now as a whole. I'm not crazy about Mooney right now, but I still think it at least gives you some value at the receiver position, right? He's got Detroit coming up and the Las Vegas Raiders and Green Bay, so he's got a couple good matchups over the next coming weeks. So, yeah, I don't think that's a bad trade, especially if you need help at the running back position. So, yeah, I would consider that, man, if that's a trade that you feel like is going to give you some better depth overall. I just ran a fake spike in Madden. Oh my gosh, what are we doing? Yeah, man. I think that's a decent trade. I think right now is a really good time to ship Allen Robinson. And I think you're taking advantage of the fact that you have two good tight ends. But I mean, I do really like Noah Fant on the season. But I do like Mark Andrews a whole lot on the season as well. And I know that Fant kind of disappointed yesterday, but the way this Denver Broncos team is looking, I really, really like Noah Fant. But nonetheless, in terms of depth and getting you a true RB2, yeah, I do think it's a pretty good trade. So thank you for the question, man. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate that question, man. And let me know if there's anything else you want us to go over tonight. Jason Kenobi, do I bench Bobby Trees this week for Claypool or Myers? Here's the deal, man. Claypool is going to be a wide receiver 1 this week because Johnson is out, right? And that's why you saw an uptick in receptions last week, but not just Johnson is out, right? Juju is out as well. Sorry, I was reading a stat there from going over the Bengals, right? But that was for week 3. And, Green Bay is like the 27th ranked team against opposing receivers right now, or around that area. And so I think Claypool's a really good start this coming week with Juju and Deontay Johnson out. And we just got intercepted by Budda Baker. But, yeah, man, I would start Claypool out of all those guys. I think Claypool's a really good start while Juju and Deontay Johnson are down. I think he's going to really benefit from both of those. But with that being said, he is going to be facing Jair Alexander, which is it's not great. I mean, Green Bay has played pretty poorly as a whole against opposing wide receivers, but Jair Alexander is a tough break for a wide receiver 1. So let's see who, just in case, especially a young wide receiver 1 at that, man. Let's see who Myers has got this week. Just want to make sure. That's right, he's got Tampa Bay, which is another tough matchup. But I still like the matchup. That's a tough call, man. I would honestly take a chance on Claypool. I really would. Just because of the uptick in volume, right? Even if it's against a good corner. Green Bay, like I said, on the season has played pretty poorly. So, if it was me, I'd probably roll with Jair Alexander with Chase Claypool. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Nick Swank, I also have Mark Andrews. That's right. I'm just a little concerned about Deontay, his injury, and the timetable for his return. Yeah, I think it's a good trade. Like I said, man. Gives you a plug-and-play receiver. I mean, honestly, right now, the way Chicago's playing, I don't necessarily view... I don't view Mooney and Robinson very differently right now. So I think it's a good move for your roster in terms of depth and getting you a true RB2 and James Robinson. So, yeah, I don't think it's a bad move, man. Especially if you have conviction in the trade. That's really all that matters, man. If you think it's a trade that's going to help your roster, then don't let me be the deciding factor. Let your conviction and your own gut feeling be the deciding factor for the trade, right? All right, let's see here. Let's see. Evan Harrison, what is going on, brother? Good to see you in the chat, man. Good to have you here in the late night Monday night stream. As always, man, good to see you. Let's see. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you had a great weekend, a great fantasy weekend at that, as well as James Conner is running all over us in Madden. Okay. Hey, Catch. Well, man, I took the L this week. Zeke popped off. Oh, shit, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Truly, truly am. Yeah, Zeke went a little nuts tonight, man. It's tough, man. It's another tough week of fantasy football. It's been a strange, strange week overall. And yeah, been a strange week. Been a strange couple of weeks. The start to this NFL season has. So sorry to hear you took the loss, man. If it makes you feel any better, I took 2 L's this week as well. It's been a tough season to call, man. It truly has been. So we're doing our best, man, and we will keep trying to help you guys in any way that we possibly can. All right, let's see here. James O. Sel Gibson. High. I think most of his production was from one play. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that sentiment in terms of his final stat line, but I still like Gibson on the season, man. I'm not giving up on Gibson quite yet, but if you can get a pretty good package deal, man, and you only have to trade him away, I don't hate it. But he's got Atlanta and New Orleans coming up, which are 2 pretty good matchups overall. Well, let me double check here one thing. Yeah, that's right. I was looking at the wrong stat line. So he's got Atlanta. New Orleans, not a great matchup. Then Kansas City and Green Bay are pretty good matchups, and then Denver. So it's a tough call, man. I still believe in him on the season. I don't disagree that most of that came from one big play, right? But I still like him as a whole on the season. So I wouldn't give up quite yet if I were you. But if you can get a good package deal, man, then I don't think there's anything wrong with that necessarily. But I would at least look to get another true running back one out of that package deal. The end. What is going on, man? Good to see you in the chat, man. Happy to have you here as always, man. Hope you had a great fantasy Sunday. I traded Rondell Moore for Robbie Anderson because the coach said he was going to be more involved. He is also being paid a lot, lol. Is he going to bounce back? I hope so, man. And I certainly think that he could and that he should bounce back, right? I know he's been frustrating for a lot of fantasy owners. Overall, right, the strength of schedule is very easy. The Panthers are playing very well as a whole. And so everything points in the right direction, right? Christian McCaffrey injury is going to free up some targets. But it's tough to call, man. They've got Dallas this week. He's been giving up a lot of points. Then they've got Philly, who just got decimated by the Cowboys, right? So I think these, and then Minnesota, the Giants, Atlanta, some good matchups coming up that I think would be pretty telling overall of how or what we should expect out of Anderson. But with that being said, I still think Terrace Marshall Jr. has seen a pretty nice uptick in targets and receptions as well. So I like where he's at on the season too. It's hard to say. It is hard to say. But am I worried? To be honest with you, yeah, I'm a little worried about him as a whole. But the Panthers are playing quite well, and Sam Darnold looks to be locked in, and he should theoretically see an uptick in carries as well. So I'm worried, but I wouldn't drop him necessarily, but he's getting close to the point where you've got to consider it. So I think we need to see, got a couple good matchups, and we need to see what happens in those matchups over the coming weeks before we react, right? But it is concerning, right? The coach has said he was supposed to see more carry or more targets, get more involvement, and then nothing really happened, right? And I just threw an interception. Let's see. James, are you worried about Pitts? Listen, I was never crazy high on Pitts. I've got a weird thing about drafting particular rookies. I just always have. Just something I tried to change this past year. It's not that I'm not high on him as a player, But I mean, I know the talent's there. I just like to see rookies in a full year before I make them part of my fantasy squad. Um, am I worried about him? I'm more worried about the Atlanta Falcons as a whole. I just don't think they're going to be a very explosive offense this year, and they just don't look to be very locked in. Their defense is bad. Uh, I'm more worried about the Falcons as a whole than I am about Kyle Pitts specifically. But I don't know if he's someone we can start on a weekly basis, right? So I would say if I was a fantasy owner of Kyle Pitts, that yes, I would be worried about owning him. The end. 140.5 versus 140.24. Hope stat corrections don't screw me. Yeah, I hope they don't either, man. But I think he'll be all right. I usually don't have any issue with that in any of my leagues, so I think he'll be all right, man. So congrats on the dub, a close dub at that, man. Evan Harrison, start Singletary this week or Zach Moss? Whew, tough call. Tough call. I like both of them, man. They're kind of, being implemented in different ways. And yeah, I like both of them, if I'm being honest. And I was worried about Zach Moss. Really, if he wiped off that touchdown in week 2, it was a bad stat line. And he proved to us that he's still relevant in this offense, right? Singletary, however, did not have as much of a good game. But being that they've got Houston, Kansas City, and Tennessee in the next 3 weeks, I think you can feel pretty confident plugging in both of these guys. But looking at how they're being implemented respectively, I would roll with Zach Moss at the moment, which is weird because going into week 3, I was higher on Devin Singletary. So I think it's a good testament to how this offense is, how they function as a unit, right? There's so many playmakers as a whole that overall it's kind of hard to really. I mean, you're kind of flipping a coin every week to see who's going to get more involvement, right? And they have so many playmakers as a whole that it's really difficult to make the right guess. I mean, Emmanuel Sanders, Dawson Knox, Stephon Diggs, right? I mean, this team is just loaded. Zach Moss, Devin Singletary, Cole Beasley. I mean, they're just all over the freaking place. And, a very, very good team. And all those guys are going to eat. But on a consistent basis, it's going to be hard to tell who to start. I like the way that Zach Moss appears to be used in that offense, though, especially in like a full PPR scoring format. So if it was me right now, I think the momentum that Zach Moss has will continue to carry over, and he would be the back that I would personally start. All right, James Dow. Should I try to trade him in a package deal for someone like Kelsey, Waller, Kittle, TJ, or should I pick up Higbee and hope for the best? Yeah, I would pick up Higbee. I would. If that means that you're going to keep Antonio Gibson as well, then yeah, I think Tyler Higbee, the connection with Matthew Stafford is a real thing. So yeah, I would roll with Higbee if you can. I think that you're going to get pretty good production out of him on a regular basis. So if you're asking me, man, I would keep the players that you have, and I would roll with Higbee. If you want to trade Kyle Pitts, I think that's okay too. But I still wouldn't give up Gibson if I were you. But I like where Higbee's at, man. I truly, truly do. I mean, I know week 2 against Indianapolis, a bad game against Higbee, but I still think on the season you're going to get a better consistent value out of Higbee. And, similar to the Bills that we just talked about, this Rams offense, plays in similar fashion that there's so many different playmakers. And, yeah, I would roll with Tyler Higbee if you can, man. I truly would. All right, let's see if we can't get a stop here. 3rd and goal in Madden. Wow, we cannot. Okay. Maybon Hatchet, how are you doing? Hope you are doing fantastic. Welcome to the catch. Welcome to the late night, Monday night hangout. Cowboys just decimated the Eagles, doing some fantasy Q&A, heading into midnight, man, playing some Madden. So welcome to the stream. Hope you enjoy yourself tonight. If you do, hope you consider becoming part of the Catch fam by subscribing down below. But nonetheless, we just appreciate you being here tonight, and let's get into the question. Okay, do I give away Savance Adams or Devontae Adams for Calvin Ridley, Logan Thomas, and Jarvis Landry? Oh, that's a loaded question. I think it depends on how your tight ends look as a whole. If you truly need, Logan Thomas as an addition to your tight end crew, I like the idea of having Jarvis Landry in there at the package deal as well when he does bounce back. I think Calvin Ridley is a pretty immediate plug-in as well. But we kind of were talking about this earlier. Who do you think is the best receiver in the league? And I truly think that Devontae Adams is the most valuable receiver to his respective team in all of football. That stat line that he put up last night is a great example of why. So I think it's a pretty decent trade, but that's a tough call, man. Hard for me to advise giving up Devontae Adams, right? So that's a really tough call, man. I like where Logan Thomas is at on the season. If you truly need a tight end one, then I think it's a pretty decent trade, being that you can automatically just plug Calvin Ridley in, right? But overall, that's a very difficult call, especially with the fact that Devontae Adams will no longer be on your fantasy roster. I like kind of the backup of getting Jarvis Landry down the stretch, but he's still inactive right now. I think it mostly is going to have to do with how valuable Logan Thomas is going to potentially be for your fantasy roster, because that's really where you're getting another potential upgrade, right? And I'd be interested to see the rest of your roster before fully, kind of advising that trade. But giving up Devontae Adams is a really tough call, man. All right, let's see here. Evan Harrison. Kittle gave me a big week this week, so I trade him. Should I trade him for another tight end or stay with him? I would stay with George Kittle. I still think on the season he is going to have a very good year overall. So I wouldn't trade Kittle just yet. We've got a lot of time for him to still show up, and I think he will do that throughout the regular season. So I would stick with Kittle if you're asking me. I think he's got plenty more of plenty more big weeks to come, and I would roll with him instead of trading him, unless you can get a really good package deal that's got another tight end one that you're confident in, and maybe getting a value receiver or running back, then it's potentially worth it. But yeah, I would think about that first. The end. What do I do with Trey Sermon? Good question. I'm still, the way I feel about this 49ers running back committee is that I'm never going to trust them. But with that being said, they've got Seattle here in week 4, who's been awful against opposing running backs. And, this 49ers backfield we have to evaluate every single week, right? Elijah Mitchell, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson. They signed a ton of players this past week. Kerryon Johnson, elevated from the practice squad. Kyle Juszczyk gets involved. They're just all over the place, right? With that being said, they do face the worst team in the league against opposing running backs this week. And for that reason, I would hold on to Trey Sermon for the coming week. And then after that, maybe make a decision about moving him or not moving him. But I think for now, you hold on to him just based on that matchup alone. Maybe on I have, or Mabin, sorry for pronouncing your name wrong. I have Robert Tonyan as a tight end. I really like Robert Tonyan as a tight end one. I know it can be risky if you're rolling with Adams and Tonyan, like we saw in week one. If the Green Bay Packers have a bad week, then you're probably having a bad fantasy week by pairing both of those guys. And he had another bad week in week 3. So if you feel like Logan Thomas is going to give you more consistency, that's fine. I do like Calvin Ridley as a wide receiver number 1 on the year. You're going to get more depth by adding, by adding, Jarvis Landry down the stretch. But you're still giving away Devontae Adams, who's going to give you a insane ceiling every single week, right? So it's a really tough call, man. It truly is. I don't know that I would advise against trading Devontae Adams. It's just really hard for me to do so, although it's a pretty good package deal. But it's a tough call for me. Dried Ocean, what is going on, man? Happy to see you in the chat. Hope you are doing well. Hope you had a great Monday. Happy to have you here at the Catch, as always. Evan Harrison, what about Kittle for Logan Thomas and Gaskin? I don't hate it. If you need the depth, granted, I have Jacobs and Eli Mitchell out. So you do need the depth. Okay. I don't hate it. I don't. But Gaskin doesn't look fantastic right now. And he's got Indianapolis and Tampa Bay coming up. He's got a good stretch against Jacksonville and Atlanta, and then a bad game against the Bills. I don't hate it. But I think on the season, George Kittle's still going to be very good. But I like the value of Logan Thomas. So I don't think that's the worst trade if you are going to consider a trade. I don't. Ryan Dallas, what is going on? Hope you're doing fantastic tonight. Hope you had a great weekend and a great Monday as well. Happy to have you here at the Catch, man. For any of you new faces tonight, hope you guys consider subscribing, becoming part of the Catch fam tonight. But if not, we just appreciate you guys being here nonetheless. For all of you familiar faces, happy to have you as well. Happy to have you guys part of the Catch fam. All right, would you trade Saquon and Taylor for CMC and Edmonds? Tough call. Tough call. If it's full PPR, then yes, I would consider it. Just because you're getting the best player in fantasy football. And I think that Chase Edmonds basically guarantees you at least 10 points every week, the way that the Arizona Cardinals are playing right now, right? So I would consider it because I think you're getting a pretty fair trade between Taylor and Edmonds, right? The way Jonathan Taylor has been playing lately. And I like where Saquon's at a lot, right? I think he's going to continue to progress through coming back from that injury. We don't know when Christian McCaffrey is going to play, but he is still Christian McCaffrey when he does play. So I would consider that trade. I actually would consider that trade for sure. Evan Harrison, we already got to that one. Dried Ocean, I'm in a 20-team league, and someone offered me Allen Robinson for Gaskin. Allen Robinson and Gaskin for Jacobs and Jamar Chase. Am I crazy for not wanting to accept? Just clarify for me, man. You would be receiving Allen Robinson and Gaskin, correct? If that's the case, then no, you're not crazy. I think Josh Jacobs on the season, when he is healthy, and Jamar Chase are better than Allen Robinson and Gaskin. I would not accept that trade. And if it's the opposite, then I would absolutely accept that trade. Because I don't think Gaskin's playing that great, and I think that Jacobs is an upgrade when healthy. And I think Jamar Chase right now has a lot more upside than that of Allen Robinson. So just clarify, I would be getting Allen Robinson and Gaskin. Okay. I would not do that trade. I don't think you're crazy whatsoever, man. I truly don't. I think that's a bad trade. Listen, man, Jamar Chase looks like he's the real deal. The chemistry between him and Joe Burrow has been fantastic. I know we don't want to overreact. Still a small sample size, man. But no, I don't think you're crazy at all for not wanting to accept that. I truly, truly don't. Tanner Nelson, what is going on, man? Hope you're doing fantastic. Happy to have you here in the live stream tonight. PPR, do I trade away Ridley for Jamar Chase and Ayuk? I actually don't think that's a bad trade. I mean, I know the security blanket that Ridley is going to give you probably has you feeling pretty good, right? But I think Jamar Chase is going to give you arguably a better security blanket the way he's been playing at this point in the season. So, and then the fact that you're getting Ayuk, who I know just scored his first touchdown over this past weekend, but nonetheless, I think is still going to be a valuable receiver on the year. So I actually think that's a pretty good trade. I actually think that Jamar Chase's value replaces Calvin Ridley's, and the Bengals aren't playing great by any means, but I do think that they are playing better than the Falcons are, right? And the way the Niners play isn't beautiful by any means in terms of how they implement their different skill position guys from a fantasy perspective. But nonetheless, man, yeah, I think that's a trade definitely worth considering. Excuse me. Let's see here. Dried Ocean. What worries me is that Chase isn't getting a large target share. He seems to be only getting big play touchdowns. I don't know how sustainable that could be. I don't necessarily disagree with that, man, but I still think in terms of that trade, I would far rather have Jamar Chase than Allen Robinson right now. And let's just double check. I mean, 7 targets week 1, 4 week 2, and 5 targets in week 3 for Jamar Chase. He's got the Jacksonville Jaguars, Green Bay, and Detroit, the Dallas, the New York Jets coming up. A very good stretch for the Bengals from a fantasy perspective, right? So, you know, sometimes players don't need a lot of targets to be big fantasy players. So I can definitely understand the concern, but he's had at least 1 touchdown every week this year. I know it's still a small sample size, but comparing him to Allen Robinson, right, I think that Jamar Chase is far more valuable as a whole, right? Let's see if we can't pull up Allen Robinson here. Okay. I mean, Allen Robinson, 4 targets week 2, 6 targets week 3. So almost similar to worse in comparison to Jamar Chase. And then in week 1, 11 targets, much, much better. But still hasn't scored more than about 10 to 11 fantasy points, depending on scoring format this year. And only 1 receiving touchdown this year. So, and I mean, the Bears are just a mess right now, an absolute mess. So I think that staying away from that trade is going to do you a lot more good than actually considering that trade. All right, Tanner Nelson, 3 receiver league. I've got Cooks, Jones Jr., Deontay Johnson, Ridley, and Pittman. 3-0 could be a massive trade for me. Let's see. I think it's a good trade, man. I mean, I don't think it's a bad trade, especially if you got Cooks. I like where Jones Jr. is at. I know he didn't have a very good weekend, right, or a very good game yesterday, but on the season, I still don't mind where he's at, right? He still had a pretty decent game yesterday, all things considered, right? So yeah, I think that trade is worth it at this point in time, and I like the rest of the receivers that you have surrounding the, potentially getting Chase and Ayuk. So, yeah, man, I think that's a pretty decent trade, especially being that you are able to start 3 receivers, right? So, yeah, I think it's a good trade. All right, Dried Ocean, do you think I should be trying to sell Chase anyways, or is he the real deal? Listen, man, until we see otherwise, I wouldn't trade him. I would only trade for him like our guy Tanner's trying to do. Until we see him slow down, I don't think he's worth trading away for any reason, right? I would hold off before coming to any conclusions because I do think that, I mean, it's hard to crown someone the real deal off of such a small sample size, right? And we saw the the worrisome drops in the offseason, of course. But nonetheless, I would wait until we see some sort of negative, regression out of Jamar Chase before we look to trade him, would be my thoughts there. Tanner Nelson says, thanks, buddy. Cheers. Yeah, you got it, brother. Anytime, man. That is what the catch is here for. So we appreciate you coming out to the stream tonight. And like I said, any new faces out there, man, hope you guys go ahead and consider subscribing tonight. But if not, we appreciate you all being in the chat and here in the live stream as well. So we probably will look to wind things down here. Let's see here. Gonna finish this game of Madden. If you guys have any, I mean, it's getting a little late. If you guys have any, final thoughts for the night, any final fantasy Q&A for the night, please let me know, and we will get to it while we wind things down. Just forgot that we put the graphic out when we get a new subscriber that has the dancing taco. So that was pretty cool to see. The first time it happened, I just heard something coming through my headset that I was like freaking out, didn't know where it was coming from, and then it just happened again. I realized we got the dancing taco on the screen, so that's awesome to see, man. Happy to see a couple of new subscribers to the catch out here tonight. So yeah, man, we'll go ahead and wind down this game of Madden, and then we'll probably go ahead and end the Monday night stream after that. So if you guys have any final fantasy Q&A, please let me know. Steven and I are trying to turn this channel into a little bit more interactive, a little bit more of a live stream setting. We tried to get that rolling tonight. We ran into some logistical issues. I mean, everything was fine outside of we were just getting lag coming through on the stream for both of us and for the Madden gameplay. So we've got a couple things to work through this week, right? But yeah, we're going to really try and just turn this into an interactive community where we're doing pretty consistent fantasy Q&A. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun, man, watching this community grow. And, I mean, it's already growing at a pretty great rate. But, yeah, man, we just want to make this as interactive as we can and get you guys as involved as we can. So looking forward to getting all of that sorted out throughout the week, man. But with that being said, man, we'll probably still do some pre-recorded videos as well. But generally speaking, I think we're going to primarily be rolling with a lot of live streams. So I'm looking forward to that, man. So yeah, appreciate all you guys as always, man. Love doing these streams whenever I can, man. Week 3 is in the books. Another tough week in the NFL season of 2021, man. It's been a bit of a strange year, but another week in the books, man. Week 4 is coming up on us, man. We will do everything we can to get you guys prepared. So yeah, man. Week 3 is in the books. It was a fun week, frustrating week, that's for sure. But yeah, appreciate every member of the Catch fam. Man, you guys are truly, truly the best. Appreciate all the new faces who came out tonight. Appreciate all the Catch fam that came out tonight. Man, we will be back at it again tomorrow night. So as always, man, I thank you guys for watching and or listening. Truly, truly do appreciate you guys. Hope everyone has a fantastic week. We will see you guys in the next stream. So remember, you saw it here on the catch, and peace.